The U.S. suffered another record day of deaths from coronavirus yesterday, more than 1,900 lives as the total number of deaths now closes in on 15,000. The nation's epicenter, New York State, also recorded its highest number of deaths in a single day, 779. And at 151,000 confirmed cases, New York State alone now has more cases than any other country, except, of course, the United States. There is, however, a glimmer of hope. The number of hospitalizations in the state continues to decline. Governor Andrew Cuomo says it's a sign that the social distancing measures are working.
We are flattening the curve by what we are doing. If we stop what we are doing, you will see that curve change. That curve is purely a function of what we do day in and day out. It's not a time to get complacent. It's not a time to do anything different than we have been doing.
We know now for sure that the mitigation that we have been doing is having a positive effect, but you don't see it until weeks later. Remember this past weekend when all of us got up in front of this podium and mentioned that this was going to be a really bad week. At the same time, we were saying that we would hope we would start to see a little bit of a change in the daily hospitalizations, intensive care, and intubations. We need to keep mitigating. We know that this is something that is a strain on the American public, but it's just something that we have, not only the only tool, it's the best tool.
If you go back and listen to Dr. Fauci really throughout the entire process, he's been predicting what was going to happen. He predicted this was going to be a bad week, bad couple of weeks possibly, but we might possibly start bending the curve. Still, if we could put up that chart again that shows 431,000 cases in the United States right now. Of course, you talk to any healthcare providers from the beginning of this crisis, they certainly have been telling me and other people offline, you cannot usually multiply whatever numbers you see by 7, 8, 9, even. Tenfold. So if we have 431,000 cases in America, actually, I think every scientist, every medical expert that's been studying this will tell you that we're over 1 million cases easily, probably in the 2, 3, 4 million case range. That said, you can't look at those numbers. You can't look at the deaths. You can't look at where we are and not go back to Donald Trump saying that, back in January, that January 22nd, though, we only have 1 case from China and we've taken care of it, or that it's under control, or later saying there are 11 cases, or even at the end of February saying, oh, we have 15 cases, soon it'll be down to 0. I don't think a federal government, I don't think a White House has ever been as wrong as this president and this White House has been. Well, it's not really fair to say this White House, because we have found out over the past week that whether it was Peter Navarro or whether it was Deputy NSA Pottinger, there were other people who were offering
from all over.
Harsh warnings. The CDC actually started getting information together last year on December 31st. But here we are, and yesterday, of course, the absolute worst day when it came to deaths, but some signs, as Dr. Fauci said, some signs of hope that at least this first wave, we may be flattening the curve in this first wave.
Yeah, and you can add in the intelligence agencies of this country, which warned the White House and warned public officials that this was happening in China and it was coming to the United States. Of course, those warnings largely ignored by the White House, unfortunately. And the good news that we hear from Dr. Fauci is that that national death toll number, he believes, will be lower than they initially expected. Remember when they came out, he and Dr. Birx, and said it could be between 100,000 and 240,000 Americans dead from coronavirus. It kind of stopped us all in our tracks. But he says because of social distancing, because now we're doing the things that we should have been doing earlier, that number could be lower. Same thing you're seeing in New York City, where the number of hospitalizations is down. The death number is, again, staggering, 779 just yesterday. But if, the governor says, we continue on this path. Of course, the danger is people see those numbers and they see hospitalizations are down, it's getting better. If they stop behaving the way we've been behaving for the last couple of weeks, which is responsibly and distancing socially, that it does work. That's the bottom line. Any doctor you ask says this does work. And Jonathan Lemire, we talked a little bit yesterday about places the president has looked to assign blame. Governors, they should have been ready with their own ventilators. The World Health Organization now. He has a sense that this is bad and worse than he said it was going to be, and he's looking for people to blame.
That's right, Willie, and it's a deliberate strategy. We see this from this president, that it's accepting no responsibility and giving no inch. And we saw it's a playbook he's used before, most notably, of course, with around the events that led to his impeachment, where the phone call with the Ukrainian leader in which he pressured that foreign government to investigate a political rival, Joe Biden, a call that even made other Republicans queasy at the time. The president, of course, referred to it always as a perfect call. And we're seeing the same thing here, and I wrote on this for today. He has cycled furiously through scapegoats, places to assign blame. Democratic governors, most notably, but also, of course, after biting his tongue for quite some time about China because he didn't want to offend Xi Jinping as they try to hammer out a trade deal, he moved and turned his broadsides towards Beijing, accused them of holding back information. He's accused the Obama administration of not keeping the cupboard full, as he put it, which, of course, was not factually correct. We have seen him attack Joe Biden for being part of that effort. And then the last couple of days, of course, we saw him go after the World Health Organization. And it's a deliberate strategy, not just from the White House, but from Trump allies. These are talking points that have been fanned out to the RNC, to influential Republicans, to allies on the Hill, and, of course, to some members of the conservative media have happily picked that up. We also now have a White House that is restaffed. Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has moved in. He has changed the communications division. And on a quick note, the new press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, yesterday said that she was a Fox News contributor. It turns out she was just simply a frequent Fox News guest. I wanted to get that right for the record. But we're seeing an onslaught here from this president. It all stems from the podium. And this is where he has turned the James S. Brady briefing room into a rally stage. It could be Ohio. Right. It could be like he's in Pennsylvania. Right. It could be like he's in North Carolina, where he is spinning. Yep. He's not trading with facts. He's sparring with reporters, and he's disseminating untruths.
But you see, the thing is, it's not working. I mean, you can look at any series of polls that have come out, and those briefings are actually hurting him, because when people go to a Trump rally, they make that decision themselves. And they understand he's not going to be telling the truth. They understand they're going in to an arena, and they're going to be having their own special little thing where he plays the greatest hits. They cheer. They say, "Make America Great Again," and everybody goes home happy. Here, he's speaking to a general audience. He's lying. He's revealing himself every day to be incompetent. He's got too many quotes. He's got too many actions. He's got too many things, Mika, that he's done over the past 2 or 3 months that reveal him. And I was just laughing when Jonathan talked about his lackeys in the media who were trying to defend him. There's nothing to defend. There's just nothing to defend. There are too many quotes. There are too many lies. There are too many obvious mistruths. I said it a long time ago, like the pandemic doesn't understand the art of the deal. You can't BS a pandemic. You can't negotiate with a pandemic. You can't bully a pandemic. You can't sort of skirt the edges of the truth with a pandemic. It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't.
Well,
and it is not susceptible to spinning from either Donald Trump or his legions of lackeys.
You can't negotiate and you can't spin death. You just can't do it.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.